Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jaffrey with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin today's show with Sri Lanka, where the government has imposed a 10-day emergency to stop the spread of communal violence following clashes between majority Buddhists and members of minority Muslim community. A report.
Tension gripped Sri Lanka as mobs stormed shrines, houses and vehicles in the central district of Kandy, forcing the government to impose a 10-day emergency across the country. The emergency gives sweeping powers to the police and security forces to arrest and detain suspects.
එම ප්‍රචණ්ඩකාරී ක්‍රියා සිදු කළ සිදුවීම් පිළිබඳව මා සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ඒ සිදුවීම් හෙලා දකිනවා. ඒ හෙලා දකිනවා වගේම මෙවැනි සිදුවීම් වලට මුල් වූ කුමන හෝ පාර්ශවයක පුද්ගලයන් සංවිධාන කණ්ඩායම් ඒ සියල්ලටම විරුද්ධව දැඩි ලෙස නීතිමය වශයෙන් ක්‍රියා කළ යුතු බව මා පොලිසියට උපදෙස් දී තිබෙනවා.
The unrest in Kandy began on Sunday after the funeral of a truck driver from the majority Sinhalese Buddhist community who died days after he was involved in altercation with 4 Muslims, the government has said. It was not clear why the initial altercation occurred, but after the driver's funeral, a Sinhalese mob attacked Muslim shops, police said. The body of a Muslim youth was found in a burnt house next day. All accused involved in beating and killing of the truck driver have been arrested. Tension has been growing between the two communities in Sri Lanka over the past year, with some hardline Buddhist groups accusing Muslims of forcing people to convert to Islam and vandalizing Buddhist archaeological sites. Some Buddhist nationalists have also protested against the presence in Sri Lanka of Muslim Rohingya asylum seekers from mostly Buddhist Myanmar, where Buddhist nationalism has also been on the rise.
Right-wing hardliners and Buddhist nationalists are also disappointed with the growing number of refugees pouring in Sri Lanka. We have Ms. Priti Patnaik, a research fellow and an expert on South Asia, with us to talk more on the issue. Ms. Patnaik, give us an insight into the development of this hostility between Sinhalese and Muslims in an otherwise peaceful country, Sri Lanka.
I think, the current violence which one is witnessing in Sri Lanka is not new. Just after the end of the war in 2009 and around 2011 and 2012, you saw the growth of a phenomena called the Bodu Balasena, which is basically, the contains most of the Sinhala extremist elements who actually flourished after Rajapaksa's extreme Sinhala nationalism, which we promoted after the end of the war. So this particular group has been behind many of the attacks which happened in 2013 on the Muslims, especially in the eastern district of Sri Lanka, including some of the attack which happened on the business interest of some of the Muslim businessmen over the issue of this like for example the business house of Fashion Bug was attacked by the BBS in 2013. So this is a phenomena which is not new, and I attribute the rise of this extremism to especially the rise of Sinhala nationalism in the aftermath of the war against the Tamil in 2009.
Thank you, Ms. Patnaik. Moving on to India, which has seen an unprecedented rise in its reputation at global stage in recent times owing to its unrelenting and inclusive foreign policy. It has not only balanced and bolstered its ties with major economic powers, but has also shown a keen interest in developing its relations with its smaller neighbors. Recently, New Delhi hosted Vietnamese President Tran Quang in the line of India's growing engagements with Southeast Asian nations. A report.
Vietnamese President Tran Quang was accorded a ceremonial welcome at President's house as he arrived for his first official visit to India since he assumed office in April 2016. The visit came in the backdrop of India's rising trade and economic ties with Southeast Asia after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government gave a special stress on India's Act East policy. Apart from discussing entire gamut of bilateral ties, Leaders of both countries expressed their commitment in fighting the menace of terrorism and its perpetrators. Both countries signed multiple memorandums of understanding in the fields of agriculture, trade, and atomic energy. The visit carried significance as it not only aimed at improving bilateral ties between India and Vietnam, but also building strategic groundwork against increasingly aggressive advancements of China in the South China Sea. Indian Prime Minister reiterated his stance for an open Indo-Pacific region where sovereignty and international laws are respected.
हम साथ मिलकर एक ऐसे स्वतंत्र, खुले और समृद्ध इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र के लिए काम करेंगे जहां संप्रभुता और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानून का सम्मान किया जाता है और जहां बातचीत के माध्यम से मतभेदों का समाधान होता है.
On the economic front, bilateral trade between India and Vietnam has seen continuous growth over the past many years. Quang said India and Vietnam would strive to raise bilateral trade to $15 billion by 2020.
Về lĩnh vực kinh tế thương mại đầu tư, hai bên sẽ nỗ lực tận dụng các tiềm năng và thế mạnh của hai nước, hạn chế các cái rào cản thương mại, tạo thuận lợi cho xuất khẩu, phấn đấu đưa kim ngạch thương mại hai chiều đạt mục tiêu 15 tỷ đô la Mỹ vào năm 2020.
According to government figures, total trade between the two countries during April to November of fiscal year 2016 to 17 was around $6,000 million. Among a series of steps to strengthen cooperation in the region, India has been discreetly improving Vietnam's defenses. China claims most of the South China Sea, a key trade route and home to the areas that are believed to hold large quantities of oil and natural gas, which is claimed by Brunei, Malaysia, Taiwan, Vietnam, and the Philippines.
In expansionist, Beijing has also built ports and power plants in countries around India's periphery such as Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Moving on to Gilgit-Baltistan, the region that has been under Pakistan's illegal occupation for more than 7 decades and has been subjected to years of theft and depredations. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the flagship project of China's Belt and Road Initiative, has brought a number of environmental hazards and has done more harm than good to the flora and fauna of the region. A survey conducted by a non-governmental organization has raised the alarming situation in the region. A report.
"36 glacial lakes in various valleys of Gilgit-Baltistan have been declared dangerous. At least 7 of them pose a major threat to the people," said a survey by Focus Pakistan, an NGO. After conducting the survey, experts attending a seminar in Islamabad said Gilgit-Baltistan is highly vulnerable to climate change. The surge of the Khurdopin Glacier in Shimshal Valley, Hunza, and the formation of a lake has emerged as a major cause of concern for geologists and local residents.
ये जो खुंदपिन ग्लेशियर जो है इसने आके पहाड़ के साथ आके टच किया, जिसकी वजह से पीछे छोटा सा लेक बना हुआ है. अब वो लेक जो है इस टाइम पे फ्रीज है. जब ये लेक मार्च ऑनवर्ड, अगर ये जब पानी नीचे आ जाएगा, जब बर्फ़ जो है ना पिघल जाएगा, तो इम्कानात ये है कि पानी नीचे ज़्यादा भी हो सकता है और कम भी हो सकता है. इसमें ज़्यादा डैमेजेस का मेरे ख्याल में इंशाल्लाह नहीं होगा, लेकिन जो फुट ब्रिजेस है वो डैमेज हो सकते हैं. और शमशाल वैली चूँकि बिल्कुल ही एक नैरो वैली है, वहाँ का रोड जो है ना इससे मुतासिर हो सकता है.
Officials from Gilgit-Baltistan Disaster Management Authority who were present during the seminar are seeking help to install an alarming device to protect villagers during any disaster.
We are expecting कि हम group of geologists और experts जो है ना NDMA से भी हम invite करेंगे और वो आके उस झील का मुआयना करेंगे और अपनी recommendations भी देंगे. जहाँ तक ताल्लुक है अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम का, तो इंशाल्लाह ये अभी अप्रूवल स्टेज पे है. करीब हम इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे हम इसको एक अर्ली वार्निंग सिस्टम लेकर आएंगे और वहाँ पे इंस्टॉल करेंगे. इन केस अगर लेक आउटबस्ट हो भी जाता है तो हमें एडिक्वेट अर्ली वार्निंग मिले ताकि हम जो है ना गाँव वालों को बता सकें और गाँव वाले अपने लिए कुछ एहतियाती तदाबीर कर सकें।
Gilgit-Baltistan has been facing several environmental threats since the launch of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC), a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure and development-related project. Cutting of jungles, mountains and increase in heavy vehicular movement in the region poses a serious threat to glaciers. Gilgit-Baltistan is a part of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir and is under the occupation of Pakistan since 1947, and ever since then, Pakistan has been misruling the region. The influx of China in Gilgit-Baltistan has added to the woes of the local people.
The locals are treated with a stepmotherly attitude, and any peaceful dissent is crushed with extreme high-handedness. Moving on to Nepal, where Pakistani Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi congratulated KP Sharma Oli after he became the Prime Minister of the Himalayan nation. Apart from discussing the gamut of bilateral ties between the countries, Abbasi emphasized at the revival of the SAARC, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, that has been lying virtually non-functional since the last scheduled summit in Pakistan was cancelled. The summit was called off after the member nations decided to not participate owing to Pakistan's involvement with militancy in the region. A report.
Pakistan Prime Minister Shahid Abbasi was accorded a ceremonial welcome in Kathmandu. This is the first official bilateral visit by a Pakistani Prime Minister in 24 years. Earlier, Nawaz Sharif had visited Nepal in 2014 for the SAARC summit. He is the first foreign leader to visit the Himalayan nation after Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli assumed office. He is the first foreign leader to visit the Himalayan nation after Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli assumed office. The visit assumes significance as it comes at a time when China, which has made huge investments in Pakistan in building China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, has been trying to make inroads into the Himalayan nation too after a left-leaning party has come to power in the center. He held talks with both Prime Minister and former Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal and discussed a range of issues pertaining to the mutual interests of both the countries. He also asserted on the need for the revival of a strong SAARC, which has not held any summit since 2014. Nepal had presided over the 18th SAARC conference in 2014, and the next conference was to be chaired by Pakistan. But the summit in Pakistan had to be cancelled after most member nations pulled out amid terror attack threats.
A discourse would be initiated after the visit that SAARC process move forward, because from the very outset of SAARC formation in 1985, Nepal has been a strong supporter of SAARC process, and Nepal has already hosted 3 SAARC summits in Nepal, and it's still its share, and Nepal is a strong supporter of SAARC. And if this visit, once this visit happens, I guess there would be a positive ambience towards moving ahead under the umbrella of SAARC.
India, which has been a long-term ally and a close friend of Nepal since its independence, had boycotted the summit following a deadly terror attack on an army camp in Jammu and Kashmir. Since then, Islamabad has not been able to convince any of the members to revive the summit and has lost its reputation radically at the global stage. Islamabad has found itself increasingly isolated, especially after it was put in the terror financing watch list by the Financial Action Task Force (FATF), a global financing watchdog.
Nepal doesn't share a strong bond with Pakistan. However, both China and Pakistan have been trying to leverage and consolidate on the slightly off-the-track relations between India and Nepal. Moving on to Bangladesh, where the situation of the thousands of Rohingya refugees still remains grim. United Nations has accused Myanmar of still killing people and forcing them to leave their homes. It says that there are low-intensity attacks being carried out by military and local militias. A report.
More than 6 months after a counter-offensive aimed at rooting out insurgents in the Rakhine state of Myanmar drove 700,000 people to Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, the sprawling camps are still receiving a large number of Rohingya refugees. United Nations has said that the atrocities and human rights violations are still prevailing in the region at an alarming rate. Andrew Gilmore, the UN Assistant Secretary General for Human Rights who met the people of the violence-hit region recently, called Myanmar as ethnic cleansers.
Today I had a set of interviews of people who have just arrived, who have just crossed the Myanmar border. And I have to say that the stories they recount are truly harrowing, and there's a real consistent nature of the atrocities that they still suffer.
United Nations says that it was horrified to know from the victims that there were widespread mass killings, rape, torture and abductions and other atrocities being perpetrated by the security and other local militias. Earlier repatriation deal was signed with the Myanmar authorities as per which the Rohingyas were to be sent back to their hometowns through a systematic and peaceful process. However, no tangible difference has been seen on the ground.
Nobody wants to reward the ethnic cleansers on the Myanmar side who have driven them out. But at the same time, one cannot force people to go back into what could well be certain death. What is going on at the moment? Not only are there still killings, are there still rapes on a large scale, not only are they driving people out with force and threats, but also there is it seems, almost systematic attempt to destroy their future livelihoods.
Meanwhile, Zaid Rad Al Hussein, while making his speech to the Human Rights Council in Geneva, described Myanmar's military operations against Rohingyas as possible acts of genocide.
This council is aware that my office has strong suspicions that acts of genocide may have taken place in Rakhine State since August. I am therefore not surprised by reports that Rohingya villages, which were attacked in recent years and alleged mass graves of the victims, are being bulldozed. This appears to be a deliberate attempt by the authorities to destroy potential evidence of international crimes. I have also received reports of the appropriation of land inhabited by Rohingya and their replacement by members of other ethnic groups.
The humanitarian crisis continues to worsen as more than 700,000 people have changed their lands and territories amid rising fear and with no solution in immediate sight. The future of these beleaguered people looks bleak and terrifying.
Words of condolences for these people have poured in from around the world, but none of it has changed in concrete action which could help these victims. Moving on to India, a land of diversity where people belonging to different cultures, ethnicities and faiths have cohabitated peacefully since time immemorial. Each festival witnesses a similar grandeur and fervour, and people participate in each festival with an equal enthusiasm. Today we take you to Arunachal Pradesh, a northeastern state of the country, where the onset of spring heralds a number of agricultural festivals celebrated by locals and visitors with great sense of gusto and enthusiasm. A report.
Buddhist monks, residents of neighbouring country Bhutan and people of Gorkha community participated in the multi-ethnic celebrations of the Tibetan New Year of Losar in Itanagar, the capital city of northeast Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, with colourful dances and traditional fervour. A local cultural Buddhist society organized its Silver Jubilee celebration of the two-day festival with the food fair and scores of vibrant cultural programs, dances, traditional music, competitions and prizes.
यहाँ पे हम लोग सिल्वर जुबली मना रहे हैं और पिछले 25 साल से 24 साल से मना के आ रहा है और ये 25वां साल है और लोसर इसलिए मनाता है कि अब की बार हम लोगों को जो हार्वेस्टिंग है बम्पर हो, हमें बीमारी से दूर रखे।
Losar has its origin in the 15th century and is celebrated according to the Tibetan calendar for 3 days. It is regarded as the most important socio-religious event for the people of Tibet, where devotees make offerings to gods and send out message of peace, love and harmony. The rich traditions and colorful lifestyle of the people in the Himalayan state of Arunachal Pradesh attracts many tourists from across the globe. Festivals in the region are celebrated with rituals and practices of the ancestors mixed with modern values. Marking the commemoration of its 50th years of official recognition, the Golden Jubilee Nyokum Yulo 2018 festival, one of the biggest socio-agricultural festivals of the Nishi community of Arunachal Pradesh, was celebrated with huge merriment in the Talo village of the state. Nishi tribe, a Tibeto-monogloid race and one of the largest ethnic groups in the state, are known for their active bravery and sense of unity since time immemorial. This pre-agricultural festival is not only a celebration of appeasing for God's blessing for bountiful harvest, but it is also a festival of paying obeisance to Nyokum deity, the rain god for peace, harmony and fertility in the society. During the cultural event, demonstrations of traditional hunting, fishing practice, swaladanam or traditional zipline and traditional sports were some of the attractions of the festival. With an aim to revive and reconnect to their ancestral roots, the revelries were seen dressed in their rich traditional attires with customary traditional headgear and swords dangling on their waists. Beating of drums and sounds of other indigenous instruments and cultural dances from various communities including Monpas, Galos and Kamtis pumped up the spirit of celebration and awestruck the visitors.
ये मेरे लिए पहला ही बार है कि मैं एज ए ट्रैवल ब्लॉगर अरुणाचल प्रदेश आई हूँ और अरुणाचल प्रदेश ही नहीं मैं नॉर्थ ईस्ट के पहला स्टेट है अरुणाचल जहाँ मैं एज ए ट्रैवल ब्लॉगर आई हूँ तो मेरे लिए सारा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत अलग है और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि हर एक चीज़ सबसे ज़्यादा तो मैं बोलना चाहूँगी कि हर जगह कैसे इकोलॉजिकली बहुत कॉन्शियस होकर स्टेप्स लिए गए हैं कहीं प्लास्टिक नहीं है हम जहाँ लॉन्ग हाउस में रुक रहे हैं वो भी बिल्कुल बैम्बू से बना हुआ है तो और हर एक छोटी छोटी रिचुअल्स और ट्रेडिशंस को फॉलो किया जा रहा है तो मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा और मुझे लगता है अरुणाचल के लोग बहुत अच्छे होस्ट हैं हमको इतने प्यार से रखा है और जिससे पूछो वो बहुत खुशी और अच्छे से समझाता है कि क्या है क्या होगा.
As part of the celebrations, shaman recited age-old hymns. Folklore and exotic cuisine of the community adds to the taste of the festival. The festival encompasses the lifestyle of the ancient community and its rich traditions, and henceforth such platform enriches the community both culturally and socially.
The northeastern India carries a blend of exuberance and simplicity that attracts thousands of visitors from across the country. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Take care and goodbye.